Hello everyone, I'm Allison Steinberg and welcome to In Focus. It all seems so innocent. Have your purchase tracked so you could get extra bucks at CVS or discount deals popping up in your social media feeds. Yeah, it's all fun and games until you're locked up in a gulag. House GOP Rep. Jim Jordan revealed that the shopping habits of some voters are being surveilled by the brown shirts called the FBI. But which voters? Take a listen.
Yeah, at the request of government, you got banks searching private transactions of their customers for key search terms, key words. It looks like without any warrants, without any legal process. And what were those keywords they were searching? Did they purchase religious texts? Did they shop at Cabela's or Bass Pro Shop? Were they purchasing a firearm? You go through this, Larry. That pretty much describes the vast majority of the people in the 4th District that I get the privilege of representing, for goodness sake. So this is financial surveillance at its worst, it looks like to us.
They searched for the evil and dangerous shoppers who use Zelle payment descriptions of MAGA, bought Bibles, and shopped at Cabela's. The request to the financial institutions for this data came from the Treasury Department's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. And this was done without a warrant because apparently now in America's communist state, just buying a Bible is probable cause of a crime. But this shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone. Last October, it was reported that the FBI had secretly developed a new category of extremists that targets MAGA supporters of former President Trump ahead of the 2024 presidential election. But as per usual, the Republicans just kept sleeping on the threat we all face from the tyrannical communist regime. Here to discuss is Alex Newman, CEO of Liberty Sentinel Media. Alex, thanks so much for being with us today. It's great to see you.
Thank you, Allison.
Thank you. So, Alex, let's start with the obvious question here. We warned about this last October, so why didn't the GOP get ahead of this? And do you trust them to protect us from the growing tyranny?
It's a very good question, Allison. In fact, I have actually discussed this very issue with Jim Jordan at a meeting in Miami some months ago. And I do believe he is sincere. I do believe he's one of the good guys. But unfortunately, we have plenty of Republicans, it's hard to put an exact number on it, but the number is huge, who are really Republicans in name only. They are more than happy to go along with this system for whatever reason. Maybe they're political contributions, maybe they're being blackmailed, maybe they're ideologically committed to the destruction of our country and the destruction of their constituents. But no matter what it is, it's very clear that we have a problem in Congress in that a big chunk of the Republican bloc and much of the Democrat bloc, and if not all of it, are totally united behind this transformation that we're just watching right now, Allison, what you just described, this total surveillance of Americans based on their political views, this monitoring of people based on whether they read their Bible or purchase a firearm or support, incidentally, the most popular candidate for president right now. This is the kind of stuff you see in dictatorships. You saw it in East Germany, Nazi Germany, the Soviet Union, Communist China. And we don't even have CBDCs yet, right? Imagine what this will be like once everything can be tracked and analyzed by AI. So I think the time is now, Allison, for Republicans to either put up or shut up. You know, I do trust Jim Jordan. I do believe he's one of the good guys. But unfortunately, in Washington, D.C., he is just surrounded by snakes, even in his own party. And we've got primaries coming up right now. Folks out there, you need to find out where your member of Congress stands on not just this issue, but all of them. And if he or she is not the right person for the job, we've got a primary coming up. It's a perfect time to put them in the unemployment line.
Yep, that is a great point, Alex. We are in desperate need of a deep cleaning. So hopefully we can take some action here and see some change. But Alex, it's concerning nonetheless, because we've talked extensively about the use of technology being used against us. I mean, isn't this just one more example?
It is. And, you know, when people combine what we're seeing here, right, this total surveillance and tracking and persecution based on political views with the other technological parts that are being brought in, like CBDCs that you and I have discussed on this program before, like the artificial intelligence, like the unified blockchain ledger that the Bank for International Settlements is proposing. These mechanisms would make total surveillance not just possible, but inevitable. And a lot of people think, well, I don't have anything to hide. I'm not worried about it. The reality is every single American, according to an estimate by Harvey Silvergate, a very liberal attorney, by the way, commits an average of 3 felonies a day. Not because there are criminal minds involved, but because we have a federal government that is absolutely out of control, just like the Soviets did, just like Ayn Rand predicted would happen here. They want everybody to be a potential criminal so that if you cross them, if you stand in their way, they'll find out what crime you have committed and take you to prison. That's what we're dealing with. We must stop it. And the technology that they're rolling out now is the vehicle through which they're going to bring this all in.
That's exactly right, Alex. They are very clearly priming us for social credit scores, an entire social credit system. Our purchases are now criminal evidence. I mean, if Joseph Stalin were alive, I think he'd be praising this. It's just astounding that we have reached this point. I mean, the Bible is literally considered evidence or a criminal activity now. What do you think that says about our government, that the Bible, but not the Quran or, praising Allah is some sort of red flag? I mean, the terrorists have literally killed millions in the name of Allah in the Quran, but that's okay?
Yeah, it's such a good point you mentioned, Allison. Last week, you and I talked about the World Economic Forum, and they viewed the top threat to the world as misinformation and disinformation. Well, I can share with you where this is all going. I lived many years in Sweden, the People's Republic of Swedenstan up in Northern Europe, and their government there, actually the Ombudsman for Justice back in 2008, investigated the Bible to determine whether it was hate speech. Surprise, they concluded it was hate speech. It was a violation of Swedish hate speech law, and so this is the direction this is going, folks. These attacks on free speech have one major goal in mind. That is the criminalization of Christianity, the criminalization of the Bible, the criminalization of the gospel. And right now, the First Amendment is kind of like a paper barrier to this. But if we don't stop it, all hell will break loose, and we'll see the same kind of things we're seeing right now in Northern and Western Europe. The arrest of pastors, the persecution of Christians, the claim that the Bible is hate speech, but the Quran is just totally all right. Multiculturalism, we've got to stop this.
It's got to be stopped immediately. It's just, I mean, to say it's alarming would be an understatement. Very, very concerning. We've seen it time and time again now. We talk about it all the time on the show. The DOJ is openly persecuting conservatives and Christians. And now they want former Trump advisor Peter Navarro to go to prison for 6 months for not appearing before the January 6th committee. Alex, what's your response to this?
Yeah, this is a total double standard. Hunter Biden is the one who ought to be sitting in jail. But of course, it wasn't just Peter Navarro, right? And I've spoken to Peter Navarro about this as well. He's a very good guy, but it was all of Trump's inner circle. First, they took out General Flynn. Now, they want Steve Bannon, Peter Navarro, Roger Stone, Paul Manafort, anybody and everybody who was close to Trump, who helped Trump. They want to terrorize them and destroy their lives. It's partly retaliation. It's partly punishment for working with Trump. It's also partly a message to every one of us. You support a candidate we don't like, you stand in the way of our terror and tyranny, we will destroy you. So it's time for Congress to say enough of this. No more money for the DOJ until they start doing their actual jobs, which is not, of course, persecuting political enemies.
Exactly. We need a serious turnaround from our current leadership here. Very disappointing the way it's been going. Navarro, I believe, posted on X that it would violate 50 years of DOJ protocols and policies around presidential immunity. But, our entire history of freedoms are just being actively stripped away, aren't they?
They are. And the end destination will be uglier and more horrific than anybody can imagine. We cannot be the generation that fritters away the incredible legacy of our forefathers, of the Christian men and women who bequeathed these incredible blessings to us: liberty, prosperity, the rule of law. We have an obligation to be good stewards of those things. We have an obligation to do everything within our power to preserve and protect those things and pass them on to the next generation. So help us God.
Very well said, Alex. Amen to that. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you for all of the great work that you have done and continue to do to spread awareness on the issue. We greatly appreciate it, and we'll check in with you again soon.
Thank you, Allison.
Take care.
For all our viewers asking where One America News is heading in the future, we would like to introduce you to OAN Live. OAN Live is the best way to stay up to date on all of the hard-hitting, straight-shooting, national and international headlines. And the best part is, OAN Live is only $4.99 per month. All the credible, honest, unbiased reporting One America News offers at a fraction of the cost of cable. Just go to OANN.com to easily sign up for OAN Live and stay informed.